China's strengths, for example, in electric vehicles are formidable. They're undeniable. These are the most affordable and energy efficient and innovative vehicles in the world. And for Canada to build our own...
You are not going to believe this. While the U.S. is doubling down on America first, Canada's leadership just announced a massive pivot, straight toward China. This is a total geopolitical game changer.
China's strengths, for example, in electric vehicles are formidable. They're undeniable. These are the most affordable and energy efficient and innovative vehicles in the world. And for Canada to build our own competitive EV sector, we need to learn from, partner with, and access and build supply chains with China. To help deliver on the full potential of these partnerships and to bring down costs for Canadians, we're going to start by allowing up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into the Canadian market at the most favored nation tariff rate, which is 6.1%.
Okay, pause. Did you hear that number? He is explicitly opening the door for nearly 50,000 Chinese electric vehicles to flood the Canadian market. This isn't just a trade deal. This is a fundamental break from U.S. economic policy. For decades, the U.S. and Canada have been lockstep on manufacturing and defense, specifically to protect North American jobs from state-subsidized competition. But here, you have Mark Carney essentially saying, we can't beat their efficiency, so we're going to partner with it. He calls them formidable and undeniable. While that might be economically pragmatic, it is a direct challenge to the protectionist walls being built by the U.S. It begs the question, is Canada signaling that they are looking for new best friends on the global stage? Because this moves them out of the U.S. orbit and significantly closer to Beijing's economic sphere.
Mine is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade. The world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
New world order. He actually said it. Politicians usually run a mile from that phrase because of how loaded it is, but he dropped it right there in Beijing. And look at the room. Look at Scott Moe in the background. That is the face of a man who is deeply uncomfortable with what is happening. This visit represents a thaw in relations that many people did not see coming. While Washington is ramping up tariffs and tech restrictions, Ottawa is rolling out the red carpet. We are witnessing a real-time bifurcation of the West, where close allies are taking opposite approaches to the rising superpower in the East. It's not just about electric cars, it's about long-term alliances. Canada is placing a massive bet that engagement is the future, while the U.S. is betting on isolation and containment.
Insurrection Act in Minnesota, what are you waiting for?
Well, the Insurrection Act, which has been used by 48% of the presidents as of this moment, the Insurrection Act also, if you look at it, I believe it was Bush, the elder Bush, he used it, I think, 28 times. It's been used a lot. And if I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
Now, shifting gears to the U.S., this is serious. The Insurrection Act is the ultimate break glass in case of emergency power for a president. Trump is very deliberately citing precedent here, mentioning past presidents to normalize the idea. But the context is Minnesota and the protests against ICE. By claiming local leaders have lost control, he is building the specific legal justification needed to override state authority. It's a classic strategy. Define the chaos, declare the local government incompetent, and position the federal government as the only entity capable of restoring order. This is a message to his base about law and order. but practically speaking, putting federal troops on American streets to handle domestic protests is a massive escalation that historically causes immense friction between state and federal powers.
Jonathan, as you well know, the president came out yesterday and said, look, if this keeps up, I'm going to have to use the Insurrection Act. And for those people who don't know, the Insurrection Act is called for when, quote, unlawful obstructions make it impracticable to enforce federal law. Jonathan, is it time?
Yeah, certainly the situation fits the law perfectly because you have consistent obstruction of the law encouraged by these elected officials, so they have no interest in even toning things down. I think it's appropriate, and President Trump has let this go on long enough. And, you look back to 2020, their city burned down because Waltz and the mayor didn't take appropriate action. And I don't think President Trump's going to allow that to happen again. So I think it probably is going to happen. I think it's entirely appropriate.
Is it time for the Insurrection Act, or would that just add gasoline to the fire?
Well, I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that, but it's certainly an option, a viable option. So actually, I'll be meeting with the president tomorrow. So, I think it's something that needs to be on the table because this cannot continue. There is going to be more bloodshed. I'm telling you. I hope I'm wrong, but I haven't been yet. There's going to be more bloodshed if something hasn't done.
It's going to spread, and most Minnesotans, by the way, and I want to say this tonight because folks have reached out to me, support ICE. It's this radical group of anarchists, and when you see them close up, you really get a sense of who they are. It's this crowd, a lot of them paid, a lot of them working, double shifts of protest against the rest of the state, which are reasonable, common sense, peaceful people of all backgrounds, including immigrant backgrounds. They don't like what's happened in the Twin Cities, and we're going to expose more about Jacob Frey in a moment. But Tom, I think most people are good people. They want the bad people out, and they want some peace in their neighborhoods.
And we're going to get the bad people out. And as far as the organization, everybody that's planning these protests, giving these people weapons and funding this, again, justice is coming because we're deep diving that whole thing.
You heard Tom Homan. Justice is coming. That is not rhetoric. That is a promise. The argument they are constructing here is very specific. They are saying that these aren't just protests, but unlawful obstructions of federal officers. If ICE agents are physically blocked from doing their jobs, that technically opens the door for federal intervention. They are framing this as a battle between the good people of Minnesota and a radical group of anarchists. It's a narrative war designed to justify the use of force. If this happens, if the National Guard or military is deployed to enforce immigration law in a blue state, it is going to be a major flashpoint. We are seeing the stakes rise dramatically on both sides of the border, from trade wars to actual boots on the ground. The landscape is shifting fast in North America. What do you think about Canada's pivot to China? And do you support the use of the Insurrection Act in the US? Let me know in the comments. Like and follow for more updates.